Well, a very good morning to you. How are you doing? And welcome to Inspiration Monday on Life and Style. This is Motivate, and we are at the beautiful Ola Sereni Hotel, and we're here to talk to Harriet. Now, Harriet, interesting character. She turned 50. She turned 50 and decided, you know what? I feel like I need to have my own magazine about fashion and lifestyle. So it's called Ferb L Style. And she's a lady on the cover. I don't know what she was doing for the last 50 years of her life, but we are about to find out. But I bet it's a very, very interesting story. Welcome to the show, Harriet.
Thank you very much. So, and firstly, I'd like to say how gorgeous you look, and I adore those nails. Absolutely fab.
Absolutely fab.
Yeah.
Are you a model, Harriet? Have you been a model ever?
I'm a self-model.
You're a self-model?
I'm a self-model.
What is that?
But when you talk about modeling, going on the catwalk or things like that, I did a bit of that in my younger age, especially when I was at Evelyn's College of Designing.
Okay.
I was like the in-house model. And then later on, when I went for further studies in the UK at school, you know, I did fashion and fashion designing and fashion merchandising. So again, we had to do our own productions and everything. And again, I was the model there. But being that I was already married, I was encouraged to pursue modeling in the UK, but I really couldn't because I was kind of divided between my hubby, and he was already in Zambia and I was in the UK. So every break I had to run back home. And I don't know if that was good or bad, but yeah.
It was good. At least you lived that bit of your life. So
yes.
Modeling for this magazine came naturally for you, for your magazine?
It did in different ways, because when you set out and you're doing something like that, to actually not be behind, and when you come from fashion designing, you know, you're behind.
Yeah.
So it was something for me, I really had to encourage myself to be out there. It's a long story, it's a really big story how this whole thing has unfolded. So at the same time, to have the courage to say, it's my magazine and I'm gonna be on the cover, yeah? But it wasn't like that, but it ended up being like that.
That's
and being
beautiful.
That also in the place where I live in Austria, Ferb L Style is about fashion and lifestyle around the world, as I call myself a child of the world. But at the same time, as much as we're concentrating on emerging markets, Africa is my main focus when it comes to this.
Beautiful. Let's go back.
Let's go.
Harriet from Uganda. That little girl from Uganda.
That little girl, yeah.
What were her dreams back then? How was it growing up in Uganda back then? And did you ever think you'd be this person that you are right now?
I was always ambitious. I always had this dream that one day I'm going to do something really great in this world. And as always my playing and my everything, I had this feeling that whatever I will do in life, I'll be great because it has to be great.
Wow.
Because I like doing things with the greatness, and this doesn't matter if it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Front the scene, I'm a little shy, but behind the scenes, I wanted to be that power lawyer. You know, I stand in court and silence drops, and I present my case, guilty, not guilty. As long as I'm handling the case, you're in good hands.
So you wanted to be a lawyer?
I wanted to be a lawyer, yeah.
And what happened to that? Did you ever go to school for that? At all?
As one gets older and goes higher, the books get bigger and thicker. So really, and also being that I was always so interested in fashion and lifestyle. So it's actually amazing studying fashion and ending up doing fashion and lifestyle, because life for me has always fascinated me. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So 50 years. What have you been after? You did not get into law school?
I did not get into
You got into fashion school, but how has the journey been for you? What have you been up? What are those little things that you've been doing on the side?
My life. One thing I can say that I got...
Oh, something I had to mention. Sorry to cut you short. Harriet looks amazing. She's a mother of 4.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness. You can continue.
4 gorgeous children. I'm really grateful. Sometimes when I see all this, I believe the journey was already laid out for me.
Okay.
And in life, there's some people who are very blessed. They know exactly what they want to do, and they just go do that.
Yeah.
And with my life, when I started fashion, I really believed I'm going to be a top designer, and I'm going to do really just, and I did that after college. And I started my own label, and it just took off, which was quite frightening because it was too fast. I don't know all the, you know, the other sides of it, but I did it. Now being...
Was that in the UK or Uganda?
That was in Zambia.
That was in Zambia.
That's what I tell you, it's such a long story.
Please, bring it, bring it.
And my husband moved from Kenya at that time to Zambia. I completed Evelyn's college. I joined him after about 8 months. I went to the UK to study, so we were doing the up and down thing. And then later on, I settled with him in Zambia, and then I wondered, now what next? You know, it's very nice. The first week is always fantastic,
yes,
you know, because you think you need sleep. And through that one day, it just started really simply looking at fabrics, admiring, and then slowly talking to people. And not so long later, I got a tailor from Congo. I got him over to Zambia, who I was the guinea pig, you know, everything was measured on me.
Yeah.
And one day I had like about over 100 pieces, and you know, I'm so excited, which was good for my husband because it's like every day I made another outfit. And then one day he said to me, what are you going to do with them? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't even think. And he said, why don't you hold a fashion show? You know, there is this event coming up. And I thought, really? How? That sounds great. So I said, I will organize it, obviously. I
look for models
every single year. And I did the whole training, and this is the bit of fashion merchandising, which I studied how to organize a fashion show, how to source whatever you need, the music and all that. And we put up a show, and it turned out to be extremely successful because I sold everything that night. I didn't even have prices on, but lucky enough, I had a friend who had a boutique who was visiting. She said to me, Harriet, stand on the side, I will handle it.
Oh my God.
And at a certain time, it was getting really late, and asked one of the hotels, is it possible to give her a room tomorrow so that people could come there? And surely people came there. And then she just gave me, you know, Zambian kwacha. She just gave me this big basket of money. And I was like, wow,
okay,
this is like in the movies. So when I went home, I put it on the bed, and I was sitting there. I was going like, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and then that journey of mine started in Zambia, continued making fashion. The Zambian people recognized my talent. At a certain time, it was an interview like this. The next time they asked me to dress the broadcasters. You remember the times we had the news at 7, at 8, at 9, and the big news at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Word went around. People started finding out how can they get in touch with me. And it just started growing. And then I was invited to Lusaka, got involved in fashion shows. And a couple of years later, I was asked to participate in a competition of 12 designers, and whoever will win will be chosen to design the dress for the Miss Zambia, for the Miss World.
Wow.
And somehow I had even, you know, doing my own things. I was the only not Zambian, you know, and they called afterwards Harriet Hala, and I was wondering, who is that?
Who is that?
Who is that?
Okay.
And they called again Harriet Hala, you know, a few times, and then I thought, sounds familiar. So anyway, I got to get my baby award for being the top designer in Zambia, and all the congratulations. And my dress was won by Miss Zambia. I think it was 94, if I'm not wrong, in South Africa. But at the same time, I got to go into Zimbabwe. I was also given an opportunity by a friend. We met here so many years, and they lived in Harare.
Yeah.
And there were these fashion shows which were held every Thursday at the Monomapata. And she said, I will get you into that so that you come and show. I did go there. And, you know, those are the days when a model passed by, everybody clapped, you know, and everything. I'm in the back, and there was really great clapping until it was over for the finale, and they called out the designer, and this huge room of, I don't know, 200 women or 300 women, it just went silent. And I came and I bowed, And the lady who actually invited me stood up and clapped, and then after a while, everybody started, you know, clapping and everything. And when I went back, again, I sold the whole collection.
Wow.
But it was, I think, still a shock for them because it was the first indigenous African, can I say that? Because I don't know how I would say it. In this society in Zimbabwe to showcase.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then through that, friends, I went to South Africa, and just when we were I was just getting into South Africa, then my husband's contract finished in Zambia, and then we were moved to Egypt.
So what happens to you? Now you have to move?
Now I have to move. I have to leave everything. So
did you have your children by then?
No, we didn't have kids yet.
Okay, so it was okay to move around.
Yes, it was okay. And moved to Egypt, stayed in Cairo for a couple of months. My husband was opening a hotel in Sharm el-Sheikh. It's a resort. And then afterwards moved to Sharm el-Sheikh, and you could swim so many times in the sea and admire the beautiful stars, which is really beautiful. And then time comes where the urge starts again.
Yeah.
And talking to people, and then I was just finding myself, and then we had this idea, why don't we open up a Benetton, you know, in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh? And we really started, because when I get onto something, I go for it.
Yeah.
It's better you find out that it doesn't work by
pursuing
it than sitting back and saying, yeah, that would be great, but we don't have the money, but we don't have this, you know. And then again, we had to move. Then we moved to Belgrade, Yugoslavia.
Oh my God, wow.
And Yugoslavia, in the beginning, my husband went because he really wanted to get acquainted.
These are totally different cultures, you know.
It is.
So you have to go learn and know. Or were you bringing your African, authentic, your fabrics that you started with in Zambia? Were you going with them there, or did you go learn what they would like, what they use? And
I think whatever one does, and I'm really grateful for that, because it's not something that I sat down and thought about.
Yeah.
But I think my culture has got a great part in my life it plays for me to live and settle anywhere. And I can settle anywhere. It's just that maybe time comes where I say, like, for example, when I was in Egypt, I miss green. I miss trees. I miss forests, you know. Yeah. But I can live, and I think it's got something to do with it, because really, I have not been anywhere where I have suffered in the sense of what I hear people talk about, that they feel discluded, or they feel this and they feel that. Because I remember us growing up, I grew up so many different tribes. And I remember in Uganda, and I'm sure you do it here, you can say to your neighbor, even if they're far away, you can say something in their language, You can greet them in their language, or you can say thank you in their language. And this is, for me, the first thing I learn everywhere I go. When I was a child, I was one of those kids who spoke so many different languages. People didn't know what my tribe was. Just like being here, people think I'm a Luo, or and I say, yeah, we look alike, So I haven't felt excluded, and I really never staked to the international community or expatriate life. I always went over, but this is also since I was a child. I played with kids, and I did things which I think people in my age did not do. And all that. So that has never been anything. I settle in. It could, some places it took a long time for the people to maybe accept me, or they just look at this, But after a while, like, for example, being in, like being in Egypt, me going to the market, and I walk by myself and everything. Where are you from? Where are you from? And then I say, I'm from Uganda. Oh, you're our sister. Or meeting other people, where are you from? And they say, I'm Uganda. And they say, oh, I've never been to Africa. Okay, so I remind them about the Nile, It hasn't crossed an ocean, but these kind of things, it just comes naturally. And living in, because like when I'm in Sharm el-Sheikh, people think I'm an American, or I'm British, or I'm French.
Because the English is really good.
No, because they would not imagine.
Really?
And this is where we are going to go with Fab L
Oh,
style at the end of the day, because
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I get you. Totally get
And
you.
if you're from Africa, are
Yeah.
you a president's child, or
Yes.
are you?
Well, the chief's daughter. I totally get what you mean.
So there's that.
Yeah,
there
there
is
is
that
that.
end, and it still happens up to now. You will not believe it. And for example, if you know, I'm coming back, and when we were moving back to Kenya, you know, from Poland, and they're like, "So you're taking your kids there? Where are they going to stay? And if you want to go somewhere?" And I said, "Yeah, there is transport, you know." And so is there a cage where you will wait for the transport? And you know, it came at a certain times. Actually, it became a little. I just said, "Yep." At
I will
this
teach
time,
them
in
how
the
to hunt
21st
lions.
century,
I
you
know.
know. And but the children are used of living in houses. So how is gonna happen there?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, they're my kids.
They'll
will
be
manage.
fine.
They'll be just fine."
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so you still face these kind of things. But for me, to be honest with you, I feel we should forgive.
Okay.
Because it's the knowledge
That
at
they
the end
don't
of the
have.
day.
True.
If you bring somebody here, they will not have that issue. But if you take them to the deepest of village, people will look. And for me, I always say, by somebody looking at me and extra looking at me being pitch black, you know, they're just amazed. Yeah. You know, they're just amazed. Just like someone deep down in the village will be just so amazed about them. The
that's
only thing
true.
is for us, it doesn't happen in the city.
Yeah.
And they don't know. And when you live in places like Hungary, Poland, even in certain parts of Germany and so many other places, they don't show people this.
No.
They don't show people this.
No.
Yeah, they bring them documentaries of how do you call that when the children have got a big tummy, torn shirt, a big, you know, they show so much poverty. I'm not saying it's not there,
But then again,
really,
that's not the image.
that is not the image
That's
at all.
not the image.
Yeah, and people are making a living from that.
Yeah.
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 So Fabel style, it will take us a long way. But
how did we come about this? Before we even get to, you know, what it is meant to do, you traveled the world. You did
I've traveled, yeah.
traveled the world and did all of that, and you got your children along the way. How did we get to this point? I mean,
think
at 50.
Yeah, do you know, I didn't think about it at all, actually, until, you know, when we were talking with the panel and everything, and I'm a little bit under pressure around, especially where I come from, what is the age group, you know, what is the target.
Yes.
And I'm really having an issue putting a certain age on it.
Yeah.
I think Vogue, it's all very nice, but there's certain 30s who are not interested in that. And there is a certain 50 who are interested in it. And there is a certain 70 who is not interested in it. And for me, Fab, it starts off like this. But Fab, I would like Fab to go in the way that it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And what is behind Fab is promoting talent. So I'm not going to say that I'm promoting talent of 18-year-olds or millenniums. There are people who have got talent and they're 80 and moment never came for them to shine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how can I eliminate them? And Fab means fabulous. Feel good. You are fabulous. We are so fabulous from your heart, from your inside, from what you bring out. You are fabulous. And there is somebody greater who is fabulous, who I know, who is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what Fab is all about.
Great. You are driven. I don't know what, there's always something that keeps you going each and every day. And when you move from one place to another, you'll find something that works for you. You know, for everyone who's watching this show, probably you could tell them, what is that thing for you? What are those philosophies, mantras that push you to find your space in every other place that you go?
Open mindset. You have to be open to things. I'm open. I didn't know, as a child sometimes, even recently, sometimes I don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I go somewhere and I chat and I go home and I thought, maybe I shouldn't, you know, I shouldn't have stayed another 1 hour or something like that. But then at the same time, actually, I learned something in that 1 extra hour. Maybe I sacrificed something, but I learned something. Yeah. And if it's something which is, you know, I learn from that. And hopefully, I don't repeat it, but you know how life is. I think, apart from mindset, is to love our world. Our world has got so much to offer.
Absolutely.
There is so much good in in each one of us. You know, if we look away from this. And when you speak, that we look at what is in there, or it's wrong or good, we can argue about it, or sometimes we can even just go and think about it and say, you know what, she was right, I was wrong. And there is nothing wrong by saying sorry, because you totally free yourself. You totally free yourself. See good in everything. Beautiful. No matter how tiny it is or how big it will. And see good. Just see good. When I was in Poland, I just saw good, and I was so grateful for God to give me this opportunity to live there. And you know what? Good followed me. Yeah. In Hungary, and good followed me. I cannot tell you that the 6 years I lived there, everything was hunky-dory. But if I look back, I don't even see what wasn't at the end of the day. Yeah. You're so good. I saw good. Just see good. And it's not easy sometimes, and sometimes one forgets. But there is beauty in everything. And if you open your heart to do so, and love, just love, just love. And if others just don't appreciate your love, cry a bit, pick up, and stand up again. Don't stop loving.
Goodness, I love that. Yeah. And I think that's where we get to end this conversation. But maybe you can tell us how people can get this magazine. Is it online? Are there shops for it? How much is it going for?
The magazine is online. For what I see is to give everybody an opportunity to get hold of Fab and Style for their dreams, if they have dreams to grow, if their dreams are fulfilled, to say, wow, I'm so grateful to see something like that. I did the right thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. So how can people get it? What's the website?
For now, the website is www.fablstyle.com. Our Instagram is fablstyle. My Instagram is fab.harriet. And for the actual copy of the magazine, at the moment, you can, in Nairobi, you could only find them at Ole Sereni. We've been so blessed that, you know, we could have them here. But please go online, download, like us, love us, because we will like you and love you back. Let's bring our continent, let's promote talent, let's show people, those who don't know. There are people who know that we do have talent, but there's still yet a huge number out there who doesn't know that actually that is done by us, because it's standing under somebody's name out there.
Question, so for all the people out there who would like to be featured in the magazine, they could also write to you?
They could write for us.
Okay.
They could write to us. When you go on our website, the email is there. I'm still looking for content providers for the whole continent, in beauty, in arts and craft, in art, in music, anything which is an everyday thing.
Great.
Yeah. Because in order for me to bring this here, because when I'm bringing this here, I'm not only bringing it for Africa, I'm also carrying it for Austria and for Europe, to bring this back. And then when I get here, I also take back and share.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this will help for me so many people, even my own best friends who have got successful businesses, they've traveled all over the world, they still cannot believe that there is more to us.
Wow.
Than,
so this is it.
I don't want to be the one who is doing that, but we can do it together. Yes. My idea is through fashion and lifestyle, because fashion is my background, to voice out and to build a stage for talent.
Goodness, Harriet, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. Time is not on our side. We have to end the conversation. Yeah. Great. You know what? Harriet is giving you a chance to play a big role in enlightening the world about the things that we have here. And all you have to do is go to www.fablstyle.com, right? Yes. share whatever it is, see what they have, like, love them. And my takeaway is see good, do good. See good, and good will follow you. So go smile out there and see some good. See some good and do some good. This has been Motivate with me, Mwikali and Harriet. And we're taking a very short commercial break. When we come back, we've got Catherine Mwangi on Books and Blogs.
I keep saying that you don't borrow just because you qualify, because there's a willing lender. You need to borrow because you need to, all right? And so that is when things began to go wrong. We started borrowing for consumption.